I'm like, would somebody call me? Should I be celebrating? I just paid in all this money to the brokerage and I'm paying these extra fees and my split and everything. I'm like, there's nothing that happened, and at that time, I'm a big fan of just kind of looking at doors, right? That's my job, right? But I like looking at doors and looking for opportunities and just checking them out and just knowing that they're there. True wealth is options. It's not riches. When I saw the eXp door, there was just so much that really seemed attractive. Now that I'm here, I'm like, I see it.
Welcome to the Jeff Sutherland Show. Let's grow today as we learn from decades of real estate and leadership experience.
We want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're going to give it to you straight, and it's going to be real. Hey everybody, welcome to the Jeff Sutherland Show. Today, Chase Waldron and I get the privilege of interviewing Kyle Sizemore, a top producer out of South Carolina. That is an amazing state, by the way. I love it there. Kyle is an investor. He handles residential and commercial transactions. He's active in his community. He is just an amazing young man. He's young, he's hungry, and he's hungry to be the best he can be. He can absolutely be. And besides his current production, Kyle's also been the operations manager on one of the most successful teams on the East Coast. He's a great husband, a great friend, a great mentor to many. And Kyle, we're just excited to have you here, man. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here for sure. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely, Kyle. So I'm excited about your future, man. When we first met, I actually was buying an investment property in Lawrence, South Carolina, and you worked with me. You were patient, and I learned something. I learned some things from you. I've been in the business almost 25 years, and you were showing me homes, and I was like, wow, this guy's good. This guy's really good. And I was just really impressed by your service, how you walked me around and my business partner through the steps of purchasing in South Carolina. And now I hear a year later, we're working together. So you're here at eXp. We're launching and building this business of yours to last. And Kyle, tell us what's going on. You're going through a lot of change right now. So tell us what the last week's been like.
Yeah, I mean, it's like drinking through 5 fire hoses. It feels like I'm just, I'm that guy covered in mud and they're just blasting me with a fire hose and it's just getting all the grime off. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, I've been eXp literally 7 days to the dot, started on the 15th. And, since that time, it's been very refreshing. So I'm pumped to say the least and find a new energy after 5 years in the same spot. Had a lot of support, but looking forward to the future for sure. So, last week it's been awesome for sure.
So you bring a lot of experience to the table, right? So how long have you been licensed again, Kyle?
Well, so initially people will be like, oh, this is another guy that just started during COVID. And I am. But I got the privilege. You've met Adam. You've had Adam on the show. Adam Taylor is one of the best agents, I think, arguably in the nation. He brought me in, asked me if I wanted to get into real estate. And I was like, nope. I had no desire. My parents did not have good experience with realtors in the past. And I was like, you guys are snakes in the grass. I don't want to go into sales, all this stuff. But something told me, I needed to go forward. And he's like, hey, we're God family business. We're going to do things differently. That was in 2020. And we bought our first house then. And I became his executive assistant and then director of operations. Then we quickly scaled the business. So it was me and him primarily doing sales. I got licensed technically in 22. So I sound like a young buck for sure. Slam, I'm always willing to learn. But in that time, since 2021 to December of 24, we closed just over 600 units for $100 million in sales between residential. And I don't think the commercial came into play there. So when I left, we had, I believe, 13 staff members and agents. So beforehand, it was just me and him grinding. And last year we closed 174 units. So we learned a lot very quickly. And now just decided, hey, I helped him build his business. It's running. It's incredible. We helped to open an office for Keller Williams too, brought on more agents as well. And I will forever be indebted to Adam for just believing in me like you guys are as well. But now, I helped him build what he's got. And it's running. It didn't need me anymore. So now I'm looking to go on my own for sure. I was hoping that was going to be a slowdown. It's been the opposite. I've had 15 closings since January. I have another 6 listings coming up. We bought 4 properties since January. I'm flipping 3 One's going to be a rental property that we're furnishing as well. We're also, as of yesterday, seeing the rehab on a 6,000 square foot warehouse I've got. And so we're going to be upfitting that property. So yeah, and then my wife started her business last year and it's gone gangbusters. So I'm helping her run that. So we're full-time business owners, full-time entrepreneurs, full-time in real estate, all invested. And yeah, excited for what's to come for sure.
Kyle, you're incredible. And in fact, I would agree with you. Adam is a first-class human being, one of the best agents in the United States. I feel very blessed to know him and all the stuff that you guys did together. Maybe you could share a little bit about, the stuff that you learned over the last few years. How do those skills and what skills, would those be that transfer to your next chapter? How are you going to, leverage those skills?
Yeah, for sure. I like to look at it in the guise of I worked in restaurants for years. So, if I want to become a restaurant owner, but I've never did the dishes, right? I was never in dish pit. I was never cooking. I never got to scrub a toilet, right? I don't deserve to be an owner personally. So I love, number one thing would be servant leadership is what I learned from that, especially with bringing on other people. But from that as well is realizing hey, whoever I talk to today, I'm not trying to get a sale out of, right? That's my number one thing. Who I talk to today is who I'm going to get a relationship out of. And relationships go far further than sales. They actually include many sales. And then just tapping into other people's networks, our spheres, tapping into a referral network, things like that, trying to figure out how to solve problems outside the box and really try to be this resource for all things real estate in the upstate, and being willing to drive, being willing to be in the contact sport, as we talked about earlier. Those are really the big things. But taking emotion out of the equation, recognizing that every single transaction has the same elements, just different people. My wife was a wedding planner. I was a wedding photographer, and COVID absolutely destroyed that business. So I'm out, But we did learn hey, if you got the right vendors at play, right, in a wedding, every wedding's got the same thing. It's got the ceremony, the reception, the send off, and the honeymoon. Right. Well, it's the same thing for real estate transactions as well. These 5 years have been pivotal in my life, and the skills I've learned, granted, I will be dead when I stop learning. Right. So I'm always willing to learn from beasts and titans in the room. Right. I want to be in the right rooms for that. But, the big things with real estate is go integrity forward. That's really what I've taken most out of, and looking instead of trying to get a sale with the people I sit down with, I try to get a relationship first. It's much longer term. And I feel like a lot of agents will try to just quickly get that sale and not realize that, one, my parents, they had foreclosed on a house. I would never want that on anybody. So is this person financially stable to be able to get set up for that? If not, and they're just not ready to go today, hey, well, we tried, right? Well, I don't go that route. What I've learned is, hey, how can I give you the tools and resources and help build a cabinet of advisors to help you reach that goal, whether that's buying that first house, getting that investment property, building your dream home. There's a path forward, and it's not easy, which is why I've got a full-time job doing this. But there is a process to everything. And before we got cut off, I mentioned my wife and I was a wedding photographer. My wife was a wedding planner. And we learned that when we had the right vendors and a dope venue and the right people coming together, it just worked like clockwork, right? And every single wedding had the same exact thing. So what I've learned from a high production team where we're doing over 100 units a year is that every single transaction, whether it be buy side or sell side, has the same exact elements, but the variables are different. So identifying your constants and your variables in the business enables you to scale like crazy. Systems, processes, and follow-up. Agents don't follow up enough, and that's where we really tried to go the extra mile, and even followed up with other people who maybe were on the other side of the deal where we know their agent's likely to respond to maybe 13% of the time after they're closing, right? So then we will send them resources and be like, hey, here's some vendors in the area in case you need some lawn sprucing up. Oh, hey, we're going to put you on this automated email. You bought our listing. We're going to let you track your home's, equity potential. And those people might call us in 2 to 5 years. Right. So just trying to think outside of the box, how to follow up properly. Automation was huge. There's so many things, man. The other thing I took out of it was once you put your name and face on somebody 7 times, you might be the one that they think of most, mind share, right? So we were really big on kind of if you've watched The Office, there's an episode where they talk about, I think it's a woof, right? And pretty much somebody got faxed, emailed, texts, they got a phone call all in one thing. So we were trying to woof our entire database so that they know who we are. And from that, we were able to build a local brand that then got recognized nationally as the top team in North and South Carolina for a few years, and then they became a group. Yeah, just a few things. There's much more though, and I've learned, but still willing to learn more too.
That is awesome, man. A lot going on, right? Like you said, 15 units from January, 3 flips going on, man. That is awesome. You're doing it. You're knocking it down. I'm taking notes over here, man. The whole touching base with the people who bought your listing, man. I mean, that's the first time I've heard that, and that is solid, right?
I don't want to step on toes, but
yeah, I mean, that's a great idea, right? Touching base, providing value. Anyways, that is awesome, man. I'm glad you threw that out there, so I appreciate that. Tell us a little bit about South Carolina, right? Greenfield area. It's growing like crazy. Been growing like crazy. How's the real estate out there going?
Yeah, I mean, so. When people go on YouTube and they look up housing and stuff, it's like everybody's got a YouTube video like this. I think Jeff posted one. Maybe he's like, but it's like clickbait, right? They're like, housing market's going to crash. South Carolina, man, we are insulated for several reasons. First of all, I've moved 18 times. I've lived in Florida, Texas, back to Florida, then North Carolina, now South Carolina, and I'm not leaving. I'm not.
Wow.
Sorry. Unless Arizona. I do like Arizona, by the way. But all that said, a couple of things that have it. We get all 4 seasons here. Our taxes are low. There's a lot of jobs being created, and I'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But a lot of development coming this way, and it's kind of the honey hole. A lot of people used to retire down in Florida, right? So the problem is with Florida, there's a tax crisis going on. It's hot as can be. People can't drive, right? And so those people go down, they retire, and then they stay there for 5-10 years, and they're like, this is the worst, right? So then naturally they're going to head back up, but they don't want to be cold. Greenville tends to be that spot that's between Charlotte, Atlanta, and Asheville, and I can get to the mountains in 30 to 45 minutes. I can get to the beach in 3 hours. We've got lakes. And there's land. Jeff knows we've driven land, and it's beautiful. That's kind of the gist of those. But I would say we have a booming economy here in South Carolina, one of the top states with the most amount of foreign investment from other companies. And a lot of that is from the auto industry. So like BMW is our largest. We have the world's largest BMW plant right here in Spartanburg, Greenville area. And they're building a 1 million square foot battery factory right down the road. And things like Milo's Tea's moving here. Companies from New York are moving their headquarters here, and a lot of development. And they're EV friendly too, which new administration, they're kind of, it goes back and forth, right? But we've had a ton of investment for manufacturing. So yeah, I mean, those are just a few reasons for sure.
Yeah, that's great, man. I've never been to Greenville, but with that, like close to the mountains, close to the ocean, right? I feel like that's what a lot of people like about Arizona too. You could drive 5 hours to San Diego. You can be snowboarding in 2 hours. You know what I mean? So that is definitely pretty cool. How is it? A lot of people that listen to this show, they're other agents, man, kind of all across the nation. I mean, what are some of the tips and tricks that you use to kind of go above and beyond for your clients? Do you have any certain techniques or any secret sauce you could spread the good word for some of the listeners?
Yeah. If I could really say anything is like, don't be a show, be your true self. People are going to see right through any kind of face you put on. Adam and I used to talk about commission breath all the time. Don't get commission breath, right? Talk about your value and have that value, know your core values, your why, right? Walking into everything you do, because real estate goes like this. And so do real estate agents. I think average real estate agent last year sold maybe 7 properties, right? And so a lot of people think they get in, it's glamorous, it looks easy, they're looking at awesome houses. And in reality, you need to be a business owner, right? So if you're a real estate agent and you're just like sitting here hoping, like at the end of the day, business owners, you go open a storefront, you've got overhead, you've got to bring in income to offset that overhead to be able to make a living for yourself. And I think the fire that's needed today is becoming less and less common in agents. I'll say, guidance is key. It matters who you land your license with in your brokerage and who brought you there. For for eXp, I'm very, very thankful to even have this opportunity. You guys are shakers and movers. I didn't even know about Jeff's crazy history with KW before and how he's brought in like thousands of agents into the business. You know, no offense, man, you got some age on us, you got some experience on us, but you're one of the most energetic people I've ever met. And that alone was something that's telling. And our brokers here are phenomenal. Like I said, I'm 7 days in and I'm sold, man, because I loved my brokers at my last brokerage, but I sat in with the SC broker today and I got in 10 seconds. I was able to sit down with her. I mean, that is crazy. And she sat down with me for an hour in eXp world and went through so much and wanted to get to know me. And it's just uncommon. When I was at a brokerage for 5 years, they knew who I was, but I maybe talked to them maybe 3 or 4 times that entire time being on a team. So all that said, it matters who your community is and who is pouring into you. And if you're an agent today that you don't have somebody who's checking in on you, you know, even once a month, a lot of people are going to expect their brokers to do that. And that's unfortunately not the case often. So I'd say get in a tribe of people that you look up to and that they want to care for your business as if it's their business too. Other than that, like be truthful, be transparent, and you know, ask questions if you're an agent. Like there's no way, like I talked to somebody today about getting licensed and I told her, I was like, listen, you're going to fail the test, right? You're going to get through this. You're going to fail the test. You're going to learn when is appropriate for like a lead-based paint disclosure, blah, blah, blah. And these important things, but you're not going to learn how to do real estate from that school. It's going to matter who you go with afterwards, right? And you have to be willing to learn and take it up. And it's not going to happen day one. It's going to happen maybe year one. If you're really, really good and you have a good sphere and you tap in and you've got a good upline as well that's pouring into you, maybe you can get some transactions going in 3 to 6 months, right? So
yeah, that's great, man. I try to pass that along the same. That's great advice, I feel. Because just from my own experience, man, I always try to take the opportunity to blast Jeff's name out there, man, because I'm so thankful to be with a guy like him, somebody who, like you said, has trained a lot of agents, man. You got to be around the guys that in my opinion, it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about doing what works and keep doing it, right? But when you're around somebody that has done it, you have someone you can bounce ideas off and talk to and check in with, like you said, man. It's
I just try to keep up with you guys, and that's a full-time job. So thank you for saying what you said. And I seriously love working around people that are younger. I mean, Chase keeps me young. He challenges me. He stays fit. I know you do as well, Kyle.
Chase better looking though. I mean, you gotta put it out there.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. I put his stuff out there. Yeah, he has quite a following. But anyway, you were talking about just KW, and there's so many great companies out there. And quite honestly, I owe a lot to Keller Williams. They taught me a lot. Adam taught me a lot, and he still continues to do so. I love the stuff he puts out there. I'm hoping I'm adding value into his life. When I originally called him, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be that person that looks at the competitors as the enemy. That is not what this is about. A rising tide lifts all ships. And if we all improve ourselves and we challenge each other to be better, we improve the entire industry, right? And that has to do with the consumer. We want the consumer to have a better experience. So I'm grateful, to just have met all you guys there. Funny you said about the turnaround time on the brokers. That's one thing I'm very proud of in our company, because we have a thing called the NPS score, Net Promoter Score, and that is given to agents whenever they want to fill one out. The company looks at the agent at eXp as the main customer, and so they're very quick to respond to us. And because of that, we believe that trickles down to the consumer. In fact, I've been texting the broker over in South Carolina ever since you were about ready to join. I've been collaborating with her, and you don't even know it. And I've been telling her things about you, what a special human being you are. And now she knows firsthand, and she's spent time with you. And that's what leaders do. They invest time with people that they know that have a big dream, So, when you came over to eXp, I guess the question would be, what did you see? Why'd you join us? What was the differentiator there to where you felt like you could take your game to the next level?
For sure. Yeah, and I agree with you 100% where I would not be where I am today without KW. And I have a mad respect for Gary Keller. I went to family reunion twice, and I've walked the stage and got to be a part of the model there, and it's great. But I think for me, I had a lot of agents reach out because they would see what we did and then be like, how do we do this? And for me, it's just second nature. I'm like, oh, well, just go in your CRM and do this. And they're like, CRM? And I'm like, so I do want to be in a place where I can help agents grow. And I truly do believe that that is less transactional. Like, I like selling houses at the end of the day, but I like more, as you mentioned, changing the real estate industry in general, because I was even talking to the broker today, Miss Witherspoon, and we were both saying how adversarial after COVID people got, and agents will put in a motion and make decisions for clients without even talking to their clients. And it's things like that where a lot of people have the populace distrust agents. I think there's like a 23% trust rate, for the real estate industry, which is insane. And it's for that reason, right? So, with eXp, I saw something where the model is already advanced, and there's a lot of other businesses out there and companies that are copying this model. And I'm like, I've heard of eXp. Every time I talk to an eXp agent, all I can think of was energy. Right. And that was something, I saw. And with Jeff, and I appreciate the fact that you weren't like, hey, man, how's Keller Williams? It was nothing like that. Like, we just got to talking about life and then came up with his background. So for me, like, intrinsically, Keller Williams had a profit share model that was fine, and brought in a few people, but maybe made $230 a month, at the most in the core time. But when I went solo and I wasn't on a team, I capped in a month. My cap reset in February, and I capped in a month, and nothing happened. There's nothing. I'm like, would somebody call me? Should I be celebrating? I just paid in all this money to the brokerage, and I'm paying these extra fees and my split and everything. I'm like, there's nothing that happened. And at that time, I'm a big fan of just kind of looking at doors, right? That's my job, right? But I like looking at doors and looking for opportunities and just checking them out and just knowing that they're there. True wealth is options. It's not riches. When I saw the eXp door, there was just so much that really seemed attractive. Now that I'm here, I'm like, I see it, what it could be going forward. So all that said, the last thing I'll mention, I wanted to join eXp because I do want to coach. I do want to find agents who feel like they're just sitting in an island and like expecting their things of their brokerage that they're paying a high split to. I want to go find those people, and the word might be rescue, but the word will be invest. I want to invest in those people who have talent and it's not being utilized.
Yeah, like you said, I think there's a lot of people that feel that way. There's a lot of people that feel like they're on an island and they don't really know what to do, and they're anticipating some help that's not coming, I guess. So
yeah, it's a very lonely business. It can be very lonely, but it doesn't have to be. And back to one thing you said, Kyle, it really resonated with me. You said that after COVID, it was a very adversarial society. You're not kidding. And I'll be the first one to say I was one of those very adversarial people. I've told Chase this story a few times. During 2020, I lost my dad to COVID and, couldn't really see him in the hospital. Had to say goodbye to him on FaceTime. Had to bury about 10 people plus at the church that Chance and I go to. And that changed me. And coming out of that, I was a pretty jaded person. I was mad at pretty much everybody, the government, doctors, hospitals, the medical community. I was just a very bitter person. And I needed to actually go to a therapist. I actually have never gone to a therapist in my life. And I went to the therapist. I'll never forget. He pretty much said, well, tell me what's going on. I thought I'd go in there and be all cool and calm and collected. I literally cried, not just cried a little, but like sobbed for like an hour. I couldn't even get the words out, but I actually walked out of there feeling a little bit better. And that was the first beginning of my rehabilitation, because in my heart of hearts, I'm a very positive person. I love life. I love God. I love people, but that really took me for a bad run, man. And I was like, that took me to my knees. And now it's like, this is why I love this business. Hanging out with people like you guys, not to get too long-winded. You guys give me hope. To me, we're not meant, God did not make us to be alone. He didn't mean for us to be isolated. He meant for us to have community. So thanks for letting me share that.
Yeah. And speaking of that, we talked a little bit beforehand, but tell us a little bit about, it's my understanding your faith is super important to you. We talk about faith, pretty often on here, man. So is there anything that when it comes to faith that you bring into your business, how do you collide the two or intersect? And is there anything that you bring in from your faith in your daily, day-to-day business life?
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today without it. I did not come from money. My parents did not have the tools beforehand, and I come from a long history of loss in our family. 2008 pretty much sparked that, and I wasn't raised Christian. And from 2008, we had a lot of loss. Parents foreclosed on both homes. I'm kind of going to go into my slight testimony just to kind of paint the picture, but they foreclosed on 2 homes, declared bankruptcy, lost everything. We couch surfed with family members for a few years, ended up landing at a place in Florida in a mobile home. And my mom and dad took that really, really hard. My mom went down the path where she ended up actually overdosing on antidepressants and alcohol. They were able to resuscitate her. So my dad and I found her. I brought her to the hospital, came back that night. He was like, when you're done with this school year, that was my freshman year of high school. He's like, when you're done, we're leaving. So where we're going? He goes, anywhere you want, or anywhere other than here if you want your mom to survive. And I said, okay. So we packed up, left, went and lived with his parents in little old town called Franklin, North Carolina. And I went AWOL. I've been skateboarding for 16 years, even though I'm a golfer as well. But skateboarding, all the things that came with it, I did. And just was in a really dark place, really empty, trying to fill my heart and soul with really anything. And I didn't know the Lord at the time, but ironically, I got in a small town, your last name goes far. My wife I met in high school, her parents didn't want none to do with me. Like, I was that guy. And I just found myself at a really low place. And I had gotten into a church, ironically, just chasing girls into churches. I'm sure all 3 of us have had that experience. Well, these different girls kept bringing me to the same church. And I'm sure they were just like, hey, this guy needs Jesus. Like that was the thing. So I went to this church, long story short, and connected with a few people, and then just saw something there where there's so much more substance, and I'm so empty and I need something, and that substance was Jesus. So I gave my life to the Lord in my junior year of high school. The next year, complete 180, actually got most inspirational senior at my high school because that was my reputation, and now it wasn't. From that, went to public college, didn't really enjoy it. Co-ed dorms and just party environment, not fun. And finally, my wife, my now wife, she was allowed to date me. So that was cool. So long story short, ended up just landing at a random school in Greenville, South Carolina. After looking for a car for sale, my buddy's like, hey, there's this show going on at the school. We should check it out. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And it was the Screw Tape Letters, which Max McLean, I don't know if you know the Bible app, NIV, the guy that narrates it, one-man show for the Screw Tape Letters. Incredible. Yeah. So this was at a Christian school, and it was weird. We pulled up, and I stepped out of the car, and someone just told me I needed to be there. And that's how we found Greenville, South Carolina, and didn't even know about it. So ended up just committing, going to this school, never heard of it. It was Bob Jones University, which is very strict. Many people know Bob Jones for that. I didn't belong, but it gave me the structure and the foundation and taught me more about the Lord very quickly and helped me call Greenville home. So now, for me, my faith is my foundation in my business. And I will always go integrity first. And I've talked to more people about Jesus in real estate than I have in any other business I've been in. And I just got chills, man. It's the privilege, right?
Yeah.
And so on the side of that, I still skateboard, and I'm part of I'm on the board of a nonprofit here called Shelter Skate Church, where we reach out to people in that community and help give them resources and support. And so, yeah, we just tried to lead with excellence, humility, and service. God, family, business. That's the goal.
That's incredible, man. I want to see you skateboard, first of all. That's pretty cool.
Instagram. I've got videos.
Yeah. I just appreciate you sharing all that. Chase and I have brought in so many talented people into the show. I'm talking unreal talent, and they all have a setback and sometimes multiple setbacks and really, really tough times. So I just appreciate you sharing that today, sharing your heart. Because if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I don't know if I can get through this, you can get through it. And if you need any of us to help you, call us, text us, we'll talk you through it. But I know right now, Kyle, as you've made this transition, you're in total growth mode right now, man. You're growing like crazy. So, you're either growing or you're dying. You're absolutely growing. So where are you being challenged right now? Where are the gaps? Where are we going to try? Where are we going to try to help you level up your tool chest? What are we going to work on to take you to the next level?
Yeah, man, I'm rocking in it. I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to continue this momentum, but find other ways where it's not so burn and turn. So right now, I'm working on delegation and scalability. So I'm wearing a lot of hats: investor, agent, leader, consultant. I'm trying to keep, make sure my wife's, staying sane, being an entrepreneur as well, right? And then trying to have some sort of personal life where I don't talk about real estate. That's hard. So, trying to find talented individuals that can come in and see the vision and help scale. I think that will come in the near future. We talked about a team potentially in the future, but playing that by ear and trying to sharpen my video and content creation game, honestly, and getting better at coaching agents with different needs than mine. And honestly, I'm still growing in rest and boundaries. I don't rest very much, right? So that's something to come in the future for sure. Adam taught me something really great, and that's sometimes you just got to put your head down, lose some sleep, and work. Right. I've been in that mode for a long time, and I look forward to the near future where that changes. Not everything has to be hustled 24/7, but I really do want to build something sustainable. So that's what's
happening. Wow. That was powerful what Adam said, because he's right on the money. And I'll tell you, I don't believe there's such a thing as a balanced life all the time. There's times of balance and there's times of imbalance. And you have to keep those times of imbalance to a minimum. You have to at some point come out of that. You can't continue and sustain that. But
harmony.
Yeah, it's a harmony. It's an up and down thing. So if people are like, hey, I just want to live a balanced life, man, you're living in a fairyland. It just doesn't work. It's like, so would you guys agree to that?
Oh, yeah.
Chase, what do you think?
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I'm kind of in the same thought process of I'm trying to do as much as humanly possible, just like Kyle. And I feel that, obviously it's something to be aware of. There's a lot of other important things other than work. But, like you said, when you're growing and you're trying to get as much done as possible, there are certain times where it's just not everything's going to be 100% balanced perfectly, so it's just something that, like you said, be aware of and, try to get to where, when you're in a good spot, then you take some rest and back and forth type of a situation. But I think it's a learning thing too, man. A lot of people that I talk to, it's like, they go through and it's a journey, like we said earlier, it's a journey and we're learning every day. So
I think one of the mistakes every one of us makes, and I know I've been there, is comparing myself to others. Comparison is the absolute thief of joy. And, I think real estate is a big head game. It's like how you manage your mind and your heart every day. And so I have morning rhythms that I go through. I go through the miracle morning every single day. I'm going to be talking about that in front of a large audience tomorrow. But we have to get our head straight and know that this is just really a competition against ourselves. It's just being the best version of ourselves. And, there's some people in this industry, I will never be at that level. But you know what? I wasn't made to be at that level. I'm made to be at a certain level, and I'm going to keep on striving for that. And so I just think would you guys agree with that? That's really what it's about. It's just being the best we are from what the gifts God has given us.
Yeah. And I posted a video a few weeks ago, just to my story. I just had a lot on my mind of like, I had that feeling, and I had talked with an agent who was like, oh, I just saw this other person list. And I was like, oh, that should have been my listing. And I'm like, listen, no. What did you do with that post though when they posted that? I just scrolled away. No, go cheer those people on, because one, they worked their butt off to get that listing. Two, we all need to support each other in this industry. Like, that is dire today, because otherwise we're all on islands, right? And a lot of these agents that are out there, they can get so in their head, and then that can really set back their business. And if they wake up with negativity, I love what you're talking about, Jeff. You wake up with negativity though, and you take that negativity, you're going to bring that into every interaction you have in the day. And it's going to end up making your business negative as well. So I think it's super, super important to like recognize, one, you're spending too much time on social media. Two, if you see something and you play the comparison game, don't go compare, go cheer for them. Go cheer. It's so much more powerful, and those people appreciate it, and it comes back just like the tithe. I really do think that.
Yeah, 100%. One thing to add to that, it's just when we already talked about the faith, but when you have faith and you're like, you know what? The good Lord's looking out for me. The good Lord's got a plan. It kind of takes the stress off a little bit, when you know that, hey, I'm not in this by myself. Right. I got the Lord looking out for me. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know. That helps me try to stay sane in the midst of all the chaos.
And I appreciate what you said, Chase. And I'll add that there's so many distractions in this world. Right. And so I was listening to a Rick Warren podcast yesterday, and Rick was talking about how you just got to guard your heart and your mind. And, what we focus on expands. So every day we have choices, right? You can do a doom scrolling session for hours. There's so many people that are basically hooked on so many different things, sometimes their own bodies, drugs, alcohol, pornography, you name it, social media. There's so many distractions, and you got to guard your heart, man, because people are watching, especially your children, your wife's watching, your husband's watching, and we only get one shot at it. So, if you're kind of stuck and you got one of those things that you don't feel like you can get away from, because we all have crutches. We all have crosses to bear, things that we struggle with. If you got something like that, man, call us up. Don't be alone. I could go off preaching on that all day, but we got to stay strong right now. Strong as men, strong in our industry, strong as leaders.
Yeah. And if I can say one last thing on that note, don't ever think that you're stuck. It is your choice to be stuck. Like, if I could have stayed in the environment that my family created, right? But they did that with their tools, and that's generational change. And I love Ed Milet. He talks about being the one, right? You can choose to be the one today, right? You can choose to be the one that is that change for generations to come. And we have more resources today, but more lazy people today than ever before. We're too comfortable, right? So for those who may be listening and they're just like down in the dirt, go change your environment, right? Go outside, go try to meet somebody, right? The only reason why you may be failing is because you don't believe enough that you can change. And if anything, I think truly, and this is why I also love eXp, is that I need to embrace change every single day, because the stock market changes, the housing market changes, people change, right? My body changes. I have to be willing to embrace change every single day. And as soon as you can get into that mindset, those who are unwilling to change will die, whether that be in business, in life, what have you. But if you can embrace change, always be willing to learn, always ask questions, you're going to live a full life. That's all I can say.
When you decide to take 100% ownership of your life, and if you say, listen, I'm 100% responsible for my success, that is the most terrifying but liberating moment of your life, because we are in the best possible industry in the world. I really believe that. We are in the best jobs in the world. We are in the best country in the world. We are highly favored. We've been given all these things, right? We should be living differently. This is a beautiful life. We should be spreading that light to everybody, because we have such a great gift that we get to do this job every day, and we actually can get a raise any day. We can wake up and go get a raise every single day. And that is just not a common thing. So, I hope this sinks in. I hope people realize that when you finally make that decision, because I was in that space before, I was a victim. I was looking around, right? And now I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, it's me. Nobody's going to come save you. You have to you got to go to work every day, like Adam said. Yeah.
Yeah. And you said you can get a raise every day. We're reading that book that you mentioned to us about building teams. And he mentions in it, you can also go be unemployed every day if you want in this industry, right? You're unemployed until you get that closing.
That's right. That's right. Kyle, I'm going to give you the last word. Is there anything else that you're passionate about or you want to share with our nationwide audience today?
Man, yeah. I'm sometimes too passionate about things, but cool things that are going to happen this year for us is my wife and I'm 31 and we're celebrating 10 years of marriage. So we got married young. So we're looking forward to going on a great trip for that. Yeah, thank you guys. Number one rule, do the dishes. If you're married, just do the dishes. That's it. That's the main thing. And we're trying to scale her business as well, which she's a brilliant entrepreneur and event strategist. So she's managing 5 galas this year with nonprofits and 8 clients for social media. And we have several other small things. But yeah, other than that, we love raising money for amazing causes. So we got the privilege to be a part of a event production company earlier this year and in November of last year. We helped 2 nonprofits with a 3-night event where combined we raised roughly $30 million for 2 causes. One was for orphan adoption, so helping sponsor adoptions. That was incredible. They raised, I think, 14.5 for that. And the other one was a voluntary off-campus Bible curriculum that could be offered to public school students in adjacent churches. They got a lot of flack last year as well, and we were able to raise just over $15 million for that through 2 events. So that kind of stuff, man, gets me pumped. I mean, so if anything, I'm not in real estate to make money. Money's the byproduct, right, of relationships and problem solving. But with that byproduct, I want to be able to change communities and change my community and help those who may have been in the same spot I was, or even my sister. And the final thing I'll mention, orphan adoption. My sister was given up for adoption and she's my middle sister because my mom couldn't raise her. Her dad wasn't around. And now we have rekindled that relationship. I met her officially and everything. Guess where she lives?
Phoenix?
Yep. Arizona. And then the rest of the people that raised her in my mom's side of the family, Gilbert.
Oh my goodness. I got to meet her.
It's insane, man. It's insane. Everything happens for a reason, man. That's all I got to say. So I just appreciate you guys taking the time and allowing me to, I'm stoked.
Wow, this is exciting. So Kyle's in South Carolina, guys. He can sell real estate anywhere in South Carolina, right, Kyle? Right? Perfect. So give him a call, and he's building an organization. So it begins today is the growth in eXp. And if you need help with it as an agent in any way, please reach out to him. Kyle, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, couple of things. I love social media. I'm on it a good bit. So Facebook, Kyle Sizemore, very easy like that. I also have Google, Kyle Sizemore. You can also visit my website, sizemorehome.com, and then Instagram. And I'm trying to be much more present online, and I get back to people quickly. You could do that. Otherwise, phone numbers.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kyle. Chase, I'm grateful for you, brother. You give me a lot of life and hope. Thank you for being here. If you listen today and you like this, I'd ask you to subscribe to the Jeff Sutherland Show. We had great luck so far. I know we're almost like at 500 subscribers. We're like so excited after just a few months of doing this. Yeah, so we're excited. We just keep on trying to add value. So if there's anything you want us to talk about, let us know. We're going to be putting out a series. We have a series of open houses, how to do open houses from Chase. And Chase and I also broke down how to buy a house from A to Z. So you're going to be seeing some really good content, some tactical, functional content, plus all the humongous, amazing stories like we heard from Kyle today. So we're grateful for you guys. God bless. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
God bless. Thanks, guys.